Okay, this is Mr. Rouse teaching 11.3. Today we're dealing with protractors. We're dealing with degrees and you have to draw and measure them. Okay, so we're going to look at this angle right here. And we're going to use a protractor to measure it perfectly. Now, of course, I don't draw a straight line, so that's going to have a little bit to deal with my problem. But if you look at this protractor, you can see a few things with this. You see this straight line down here at the bottom, and then this midpoint. Those are crucial to be able to use a protractor. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to find this midpoint, or maybe right here, and I'm going to use that to go onto that midpoint right there. So let me show you how this is done. So let's move this protractor. I'm going to find that midpoint, as you can see, and I'm going to line it right up on that midpoint. Then the next key is, if I move that a little bit, you see that black line going down from the protractor, and the end is a 0. I'm going to line the end of my line, I'm going to line that middle up, and then I'm going to line my line on that black line. So there you go, I've got it lined up. Now all I have to do is read it. Now, I know right now that 90 degrees is a right angle, okay? I know that is right. Anything larger than that is obtuse. So I'm going to use my 90 degrees to let me know which part of the protractor, because if you can see this protractor over here, you can see I have big numbers up here, and I have these small numbers down here. And a lot of kids are always asking, well, how do I know which ones to use? How I know comes right back to that 90 degrees. If it is larger than 90 degrees, and I know because my 90's right there. So if it's larger than 90 degrees, I'm going to use my bigger numbers. If the angle is smaller than 90, I use my small numbers. But this angle, as we can see, there is my 90 right here. It goes beyond my 90, so I'm going to use my bigger numbers. So if I line that up and I go all the way up, if my line was actually straight and I just followed that up, it's not 70 because that's smaller than 90. So look at the look at these smaller numbers right there. Or they're bigger, but they're at the below it. Sorry, these bigger numbers below. This one says, yes, 110 degrees. So let's look at another one. So I'm going to take my protractor. I'm going to line the middle with that middle, and then I'm going to line my black line as well as I can on my unstraight arrow. So we're going to go to there. Okay, and then as I'm doing this, I'm going to look at my 90 degrees. Is it bigger or smaller than 90? This one is smaller. Okay, I know because if I look at my blue, it doesn't come all the way up to this 90 right here. So I'm not going to use these big numbers on top. I'm going to use these small numbers. So if I follow it up, it would fall on 60 degrees. And that's an angle actually the kids have to be able to just recognize, a 60-degree angle. Okay, next, let's try another one. So I'm going to take it. I got to line up my middle with the middle on this, and and I can actually, maybe I can't turn here a little bit on this picture, but on a real one I would turn it because my line isn't straight. This is what we'll do. We'll make this line straight. So we'll take it and redraw a straighter line. Okay, so we're lined up. Now I'm looking at that 90 degrees, remember. This one is way bigger than 90. So I'm going to look at these big numbers, and it falls in about at that, what is right there? It falls in, not at 30, it's bigger than 30. It falls in at the 150 degree range. So that is the biggest thing today. Now when you draw using a protractor, this is a lot different when we're drawing with one. Okay, so if I draw with a protractor, I'm going to put a point, maybe. I'm going to put a point in the middle. I'm going to put a point on the edge. And then I'm going to, let's say I want to draw we'll go 80, because 80 is a cool number. So then I can actually use my protractor as a ruler and use that edge bottom to do it. But here I won't be able to. But you guys can turn it, now use it as a ruler, because watch. I'm just going to connect the dots. Now mine's obviously not perfect. That's why I would use the bottom as a ruler. And then connect it here, and I've got an 80 degree. So you do the same thing. You find the midpoint, you find the end point, and then you draw it. So this is Mr. Rouse teaching 11.3. Join me next time as I teach 11.4. Isn't that how sometimes we look learning math? Have a good night.